Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 7 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 7 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter 1 variable equations. The lessons we're going to cover today are solve one-step equations, solve two-step equations, solve equations word problems, solve equations involving like terms. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. Okay, here I am on grade 7 math. The chapter we are on right now is one variable equations. Let's just start with the lesson that is solve one-step equations. Solve for f. The equation you are given is 5 equals f minus 3. You need to find the value of f, right? So you have to use the inverse operations to undo the operations in the equation. So be sure to do the same operations to both sides of the equation. Let's just add 3 both sides, right? So you have 5 plus 3, f minus 3 plus 3. You are left with f, and 5 plus 3 makes 8. So that is f equals 8, right? So the correct option is f equals 8 because you need to isolate the variable f, right? Okay, let's just start with the test questions. Solve for g. 2g equals 4. So you need to divide both sides of the equation by 2 because you need to isolate the variable g. So you need to remove that 2. 2 is multiplying, so you need to divide both sides by 2. So you are left with g equals 2. So option number 1 is the correct option, that is g equals 2. Solve for h. So you have h equals divided by 2 equals 2. So h is dividing, right? That means you need to multiply both sides by 2. So that is h equals 4. Option number 2 is the correct option. The correct option is h equals 4. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, the next one is solve for f. So you have 5 equals f minus 3. You need to add 3 both sides, right? So f minus 3 plus 3, you have 5 plus 3. So 3 minus 3 makes 0. You are left with f equals 8. So the correct option is option number 1, that is f equals 8. So the correct option is option number 1, that is f equals 8. Option number 1 is the correct option. The next one is solve for z plus 3 equals 9. So which is the correct option? Yes, so that is option number 1 is the correct option, right? When you undo operations, that is z equals 6. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? The next one is solve for g. 1 equals g minus 2. So which is the correct option? That is g equals 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. Is solve for p. P divided by 3 equals 3. So which is the correct option? That is p equals 9. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, the next one is solve for d. 3 equals 3d, which is the correct option? That is d equals 1. Option number 2 is the correct option, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. So the next lesson is that is solve two-step equations. So let's just start with the next lesson, that is solve two-step equations. Okay, so solve for D. The example you are given is 6 equals 4 plus 2, right? So you have to do the same thing. You have to undo the operations. So you have to perform the same operations on both sides of the equation, right? So you have 6 equals 4 plus 2D. So first thing is you need to subtract 4 both sides. So when you subtract both sides, you are left with 2D equals 2. Just divide both sides by 2 and you are left with D equals 1, right? Let's just start with the test questions. Solve for Q. 2Q minus 1 equals 1. So your first step you need to do is add 1 both sides because you need to isolate the variable 1, right? So you need to isolate the variable Q. So 1 minus 1 is 0. That is 2Q equals 2. Now you need to remove that 2 from here. So divide both sides by 2. So Q equals 1. The correct option is Q equals 1. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, the next one is solve for M. 9 equals 2M plus 3. So subtract 3 both sides. 2M equals 6, right? Now you need to divide both sides by 2, so M equals 3. The correct option is M equals 3. Option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for W. 5 minus 2W equals 3. You have 5 minus 2W equals 3. So just add 2W both sides, right? Now subtract 3 both sides. 5 minus 3 is 2 equals 2W. So W equals 1. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is W equals 1. Option number 1 is the correct option. Solve for N. 2 plus 2N is 8. So which is the correct option? that is n equals 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. Solve for b, which is the correct option. That is b equals 1. Option number 2 is the correct option. The correct option is b equals 1. Very good. Solve for r, which is the correct option. The correct option is r equals, very good, 2. It is option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for h. 4 minus 2h equals 2. So which is the correct option? That is h equals 1. Option number 1 is the correct option. Solve for f. 10 equals 2f plus 2. So which is the correct option? The correct option is f equals 4. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is solve equations, word problems. This equation shows how the distance Tara has cycled depends on the number of trips she had taken to work. That is D equals 12t. The variable t represents the number of trips she has made, and the variable d represents the total distance cycled in kilometers. How many trips will Tara have to make to cycle a total of 12 kilometers? So the equation you are given is d equals 12t. Now you need to understand the variable of which value you are given here. How many trips? T represents the trip. You need to find the value of T. T. Will Tara have to make a cycle a total of 12 kilometers? T, that is D. The value of D is given. You need to calculate the T. Just put up the values. D equals 12T. You are given D equals 12. Replace D by 12. So 12 equals 12T and T equals 1. So the correct option is T equals 1. Let's just start with the test questions. This equation shows how the total cost of visiting the Science Museum as a member is related to the number of visits. So C equals V plus 10. The variable V represents the visit to the Science Museum and variable C represents the total cost. What is the maximum number of visits? You need to find V. Member to the of the Science Museum can make a total cost of C equals $17. You are given the cost, you need to calculate the value of V. So just put up the values, that is C equals V plus 10, you have C equals 17. So just solve the equation for V, right? That is 17 minus 10, 7 it is. That means V is 7 visits you have, right? The correct option is option number 1, that is 7 visits. This equation shows how the amount of dough Amanda has prepared is related to the number of hours she has spent working at the bakery. So D equals 6H. The variable H represents the number of hours worked. The variable D represents the number of amount of dough prepared. How many hours did Amanda work if she prepared 18 kilograms of dough? So you need to calculate the value of H. And you are given D equals 18. That is 18 equals 6H. Now divide both sides by D. So that is 6, that is H equals 3. The correct option is option number 1, that is H equals 3. This equation shows how the total pages of notes in Neha's notebook depends on the number of hours she spent in class. That is, this equation shows how the total pages of notes in Neha's notebook depends on the number of hours she spends in class. P equals H plus 14. The variable H represents the number of hours she spent in class and the variable P represents the total pages of notes taken. In all, how many hours will Neha have to spend in class before she will have a total of 20 pages of notes in her notebook? So, which is the correct option? The correct option is mm, H equals 6, option number 2 is the correct option, that is 6 hours. This equation shows how the total cost of visiting the art museum as a member is related to the number of visits. C equals V plus 9. The variable V represents the number of visits to the art museum and the variable C represents the total cost of those visits. What is the maximum number of visits a member of the art museum can make for a total cost of $20? That is P equals 11. So 11 visits that cost $20. This equation shows how the total number of appetizers recipes Amanda knows depends on the number of weeks she attends culinary school. A equals W plus 11. The variable W represents the number of weeks she has attended culinary school and the variable A represents the total number of appetizer recipes she knows. After how many weeks of culinary school will Amanda know a total of 18 appetizer recipes? So which is the correct option? You are given A equals 18. You need to calculate the value of W. So which is the correct option? That is W equals 7. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. Solve equations involving like terms. That is the last lesson from the chapter. Let's just start with the lesson. Solve for A. 2A minus A equals 17. First thing you need to learn is like terms. Like terms are the ones that have the same variable. Like 2A minus A, they are like terms because they have the same variable, that is A. So 2A minus A is equals 17. So just combine these like terms. 2A minus A is A equals 17. Let's just start with the test questions. Solve for A. 2A minus A equals 17. So the correct option is A equals. That is A equals 17. The correct option is A equals 17. Option number 1 is the correct option. Solve for P. 10P minus 4P equals 18. So 10P and 4P are the like terms, right? Just collect them. Your left is 6P equals 18 and P equals 3. Option number 2 is the correct option. 18H minus 10H equals 8. 8H equals 8. So which is the correct option? That is H equals 1. Option number 1 is the correct option. Fourteen J minus 7J equals 14. So which is the correct option? That is J equals 2. Option number 2 is the correct option. Option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for G. 8G minus 6G equals 8. That is G equals 4. Option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for K. 18K minus 16K equals 10. So which is the correct option? That is k equals 5, option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for p. For 5p minus 4p equals 12. So which is the correct option? The correct option is p equals 12. Option number 1 is the correct option. Five m minus 4m equals 15. So which is the correct option? The correct option is m equals 15. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 7 math. Chapter we were working on is one variable equations. The lessons we have covered today are one-step equations, solve two-step equations, solve equations word problems, solve equations involving like terms. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next session, right? So if you need more help with any of the lesson, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you, right? Or either you can write down the questions in the chat box. I am here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. So you can please write down the questions in the chat box if you need more help with any of the lesson. Any questions you can please ask. Okay, that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye everyone.